great presentation coming up in a similar but slightly different area. We're talking to Linda Barry from Facebook Gaming. The big catch. We've gone from chess to fishing, which is great. It's good. I love all these analogies. It's fun. That's a beautiful graphic as well. Linda, how are you? Lovely to see you, Linda. That's a lovely background. You've got a nice bit of gardening there going on. Lovely.
A lovely day today. I had to be able to see it properly now. That's better, isn't it?
That's much better. Where are you? I sense from your accent that you're based in Ireland.
I am. I'm in County Wicklow in Ireland.
Lovely. And how are you doing over there? What's it like over there at the moment?
Well, we're all craving the businesses to open and get back to life, but it's, as you see, it's a beautiful day and I'm surrounded by the countryside, so I can't complain too much, can I now?
You're fantastic. No, yeah. Well, it is happening. We've got to be patient. It's happening steadily, but yes, no. Hopefully, sooner rather than later, we'll all be back face to face and able to share a glass of something. Are you? How are you doing? Are you about ready to launch in?
I'm ready to go. Yep.
We're a little bit late.
I have a lot to talk about.
Full time, so just take your time and do. It's not your fault, Zara. So I'm going to just disappear here. If you need me at all, I'll pop back in. But yeah, otherwise I'll leave it to you to kind of to tell us about the big catch for gaming.
Super. Okay. Cool. Well, first of all, hello everybody, and thanks very much for joining me in this session. Okay, so in this deck, we're confident you're going to learn why growing audiences is such a big opportunity, and we'll discuss how to build motivation-led creatives to unlock these new audiences. I'm covering a lot in 20 minutes, so I'll also leave you with a follow-up on all that's been presented here, as well as how to measure and iterate towards efficiency. So fingers crossed this deck will work. Let's get to it. Okay, so we see the general state of the gaming industry, and it's clear that most companies are targeting their campaigns to the same types of audience. This behavior ends up slowing their growth, since with time, it gets harder for these ads to convert the same people. Also, the creative approaches are usually the same, all based on gameplay with little to no consideration to what these players are actually motivated by. We understand why this happens, and now not only is there an opportunity to reach a larger pool of players, but by doing these, titles can go back to growing. As we see, everybody is a gamer. 86% of internet users play mobile games, and 80% of the people that are not labeled as gamers are in fact playing games on their phones. This alone will tell you to change strategies to target more than gamers. But there's more. Gaming audiences are diverse and growing. With the pandemic, we've seen an influx of new mobile gamers across the world, consistent in all regions. We call them late adopter gamers, and according to the survey, they're here to stay. Just to illustrate, we've seen a 12% increase in the US gaming population, 18% in the United Kingdom, and 22% in Korea. So it's clear that one creative approach can't possibly resonate with so many different types of people. This now large pond of gamers is more diverse than the cliches, and they're lured by a broad spectrum of motivations. 50% of US mobile gamers, established and recent adopters, are women. 43% of established mobile gamers are 45 or older. 39% of recent adopters are 34 or younger, and 36% of established gamers play up to 5 times a week. It's time to relook at who a gamer is. Who do you think about when you're building your creatives? Globally, nearly a third of mobile gamers are 45 or older. The very stereotypical 16 to 24 age group represents a mere 14.2% of mobile gamers. Women play more and more often. Their sessions last 25% longer than for men, and 43% of women play more than 5 times a week, while this same behavior makes for 38% of men. And they're also spending a little more. 4.5% of women spend in-game, while 3.3% of men do. Okay, so by now we're pretty clear that this pond is large and diverse. So what motivates them? Well, people play games for many reasons: to relieve stress, to pass time, feel accomplished, defeat others, get dazzled by uniqueness, or simply immerse themselves in a world or character. There are many different motivations, and sameness is definitely not one. But 56% of players say nearly all or many of the ads they see are repetitive. When building ads, do you think about what people look for, or do you focus on showing the game regardless of who will play it? Are you thinking about who to build for, and what is the best creative approach for your game and your audience? because there's no one size fits all. How we will get to answers is by experimenting with a range of motivation-led creative and broad targeting to expand your pond and lure more fish. Experimentation is key to understanding what your audiences are motivated by and what aspects of your game are more appealing to them. But it's not a guessing game, and help is on the way. Experimentation is an ongoing process to learn what works and why, and to help you incorporate new audiences and practices into your business activity. We start by asking which motivations your game can best speak to. This is a key step, as it's reflecting on what the game is really about, what's different and unique, and what's really not that different than what competitors are doing. It's looking at the current approach to creative and seeing new possibilities that might appeal to new groups of people. With your new motivation-led creative in hand, you'll learn which worked best to catch new audiences when broadly targeted. If you don't allow new players to be exposed to the new creatives, you won't be able to learn what is motivating them, and also won't be able to refine the creative approach to continue to reach these new types of players. And this step leads to the next, adapt, where you'll keep iterating the creatives based on the learnings and optimize them towards efficiency. This is probably the most important step on the performance side, knowing that a new group of people are motivated by something you were not exploring until now. It's only the beginning of a journey to mature, finesse, and optimize the creative approach, message, and execution. It might look like the way you already work or a whole new way of working, but the important thing is that we've proven that doing this works. Big Catch Creative converted new audiences in 100% of our tests. Proof that creative has material impact on user acquisition and audience expansion. And more than being sure that motivation-led creatives can unlock new audiences, we learned that leveraging gamer motivations when making ads will also drive higher user value and higher ads quality scores, which means your ad will perform better in the auction if it's a higher quality. Ads with a lower quality ranking tend to cost more, which may reduce distribution of the ads and lead to fewer results. Okay, so now we know that there's a huge opportunity in expanding audiences to grow your business, that gaming audiences are diverse and growing, and that gamers have higher expectations, responding to motivations and rejecting repetition. We understand that to break through, advertisers can follow the framework and build motivation-led creative, test in a broad environment, learn who's responding to untapped aspects of your game, and then continue to iterate for efficiency. So now we'll dive into each step of this framework, starting by taking a look at how to build motivation-led creative. Let's start with some foundations. Motivations are about the player. What does a player look for in a game? What makes this player pick one game instead of another similar one? For example, is it the fact that it's more customizable, or maybe it's more social? Regardless of the game, some people like more customizable games while others like more social. On the other side, gameplay is about the game, and players connect to a game because of how its objectives motivate them to play. How does winning feel? Is there a game mode where the player gets to arrange, strategize in their own way and feel accomplished? There are endless types of gameplays, and players are motivated by a number of different triggers. So to make this a little easier, we've identified 8 motivations that cover most types of players and game genres. But don't worry and don't get stuck on them. They're thought starters to get things moving. There might be motivations that really don't matter for your game, and that's fine. There's others to pick from. But we'll dive into these, and I'll do a little exercise with them also. So here are the 8. We have self-expression, social connection, progression, expertise, discovery, power, escapism, and relaxation. So let's double click into each of these. Self-expression. So some games will allow players to express their creativity and identity, and some players are really motivated by making that game a bit more their own. We're talking about the gameplay that allows creative expression, personalization, or customization. Think about kitting out your car, or choosing your own style of clothes, or even building your character from scratch. And for us to start landing this idea of motivation and gameplay, think about it this way. A player might not love airplane games, but the fact that this one allows them to choose and customize their plane might be the factor for a new player to get excited about it. And that's the logic. And as research confirms, 46% of new players in the US, and we've consistently seen this everywhere else, say they play to express something about themselves. These 4 examples are from 4 very different games that are all leveraging self-expression in their own way. Look at how the ad leads with the motivation and how the messages are clearly talking about it. So let's look at the next one, social connection. Social connection appeals to players who want to connect and bond with old or new friends. 44% of new gamers in the US play to connect with people they already know. So look at gameplay that have friends in the mix. It could be clans or teams, one-on-one competitions or collaborations. Just by looking at these thumbnails in these examples, you can see that one leverages beating your friends while the other invites you to join a guild. Different genres and different takes on social connection, but again, clearly illustrating that this gameplay is connected to the motivation. Now we're looking at progression, talking about players who take pride in building, managing, and improving things in a game. They feel good with building, completing, and accomplishing. 43% of established gamers in the US say they play to feel accomplished, and this is a powerful trigger. So think about gameplay to match the motivation. Look for the ones about building cities, farms, or villages, or that the character evolves while continuously finding new challenges or exploring new maps and journeys. With expertise, the motivation is a bit similar to progression because it relates to feeling accomplished, but this goes deeper. This is for players who want to develop an ability to do something exceptionally well. It's not about winning, but crushing it based on how great they are. These include gameplay that focus on overcoming a challenge, solving a puzzle, excelling in speed, accuracy, getting like all stars and 100% in it, and so on. Next, we have discovery. These are players who love to learn and discover new things within a game. And many are like this. 46% of mobile gamers in the US say they play to be dazzled by something unique. So think about gameplay with big maps and multiple worlds, games with side quests, enigmas, invitations, hidden objects. It's all about the thrill of finding and discovering. I've only 3 more to go. Power. Power appeals to people who want to feel victorious. In fact, 45% of new gamers in the US say they play to defeat. So think about gameplay that allows players to become emperors, queens, rulers, or bosses. Gameplay that lets the player take objectives and territories from others and allows you to control and command. It's about bringing the player the power they don't have in real life. Escapism talks to players who seek distraction and relief from the day-to-day realities. For instance, 46% of new gamers in the US say they play to immerse themselves in a character or world. So look for the extraordinary. Gameplay like role-playing, fantasy sports, alternative worlds, non-humanoid characters, wild adventures. Some days we all wish we could be someone else, and these games are the way to do it. The last one is relaxation. Players who want to kill time, be entertained, and relax, not really worry about points, levels, and leaderboards. 62% of established mobile gamers in the US play to relieve stress. We're talking about gameplay like puzzles, cards, and stress-free dynamics like repetition, slower paced play, or simple soothing sights and sounds. And I hope you spotted that some of these same titles across multiple motivations are the same, and that's the intention. The game has many different gameplays, and making ads to highlight different gameplay for different types of players is the main pillar of an audience expansion strategy. It's like using different baits to lure different types of fish. So before we move on to the next step in our framework, let's take time to do this exercise. It's meant to explore which baits you already have in your game's bait box and then choose the strongest ones. So you map out every one of your game's gameplay against 8 gamer motivations. And it's okay if your game doesn't have anything, for example, like relaxation. It's an exercise of self-knowledge. So as an example, we're going to look at how we've done this with Hotel Empire. Hotel Empire is a simulation game where you build your own hotel empire and become a tourism tycoon. You start running a small hotel and work hard to make your business grow. You improve every detail and transform your small hotel into a 5-star resort. So listing everything. There's probably more than what we're seeing here, but remember, nobody knows your game more than you do. Allow yourself to be surprised. Reflect on the approach you've been using in your BAU activity. Are you exploring the full potential of your game? And are you making an effort to appeal to people that are motivated by different things? Okay, now you have a long list against 8 motivations. You go and prioritize 4 motivations that feel the strongest. Go beyond the obvious or core gameplay. Remember that people are motivated by different aspects in the game, and an overlooked gameplay could be a very efficient bait for your fishing session. Okay, it's time to look at how we make these creatives and leverage motivations in gameplay. So the goal is to very clearly connect gameplay and motivation. Let's take a moment to look at the examples on the right. Even without playing the videos, you can visually see and read the differences in them. My Cafe is a game about creating and managing your restaurant and interacting with customers. To learn what motivates different fish, you need different types of bait. So let's just continue back to that exercise for a minute. You've prioritized 4 motivations out of 8, and next you'll build 4 new mobile first creative ads, connecting gameplay and motivations. Let's look at how, and then dive into our list of creative considerations to help you with your building. So this is how Hotel Empire made their assets. They went for power, relaxation, self-expression, and social connection. The message, have a look at the message, the copy, the call to action. They've selected the most different aspects of their game and played with it. These ads are also great mobile first examples. Each one is the recommended 4:5 ratio, 15 seconds in length, and sometimes they're using split screens and not depending on sound whatsoever. So let's get to our creative conversation. We have a checklist, and everybody loves a checklist. So let's start with opening with a real big moment. It clearly represents the game and the motivation of your gameplay. The beginning of an ad is crucial to getting the message across. Highlight your game's name, its logo, within the first 3 seconds. There's lots of repetition within gaming ads. There's a lot. So highlight your game early, as it's key for people to remember and not confuse you with competitors. Showcase the game and the gameplay, weave the message into the story, and explain the motivation. And let's be true to the game's experience and the motivation you're trying to trigger. This will allow us to learn with the results. Whoever's responded to the ad responded because of the gameplay and the message. Motivation. For example, rather than the usual play now, bring in your motivation, like design now. The call to action is the last place to connect your motivation. Be clear about what the game is about. We know that retention is higher when the game really delivers on expectations that the ad created. Same applies to leveraging real and relevant gameplay to generate stronger interest. Make sure to work to 15 seconds and make it for mobile possible. If all the ads look the same, you won't be able to know what motivated people to click, but keep them within the same visual style. Don't make one ad using illustrations and another with live action and another with 3D. So I'll give you an example of some of these that follow the checklist. So as we said, the ad opening is super important. If we want to learn if the motivation is really the driver of conversation, we should clearly open with it. So make sure the gameplay, visual, and message are consistent against the motivation. Highlight your game's name early within the first 3 seconds. It doesn't have to be a big moment. It can be a quick transition or even part of a cutscene you're showing. Just make sure the ad is about your game and be clear and be proud of it. Weave your message into the story and explain the motivation. The gameplay and the motivation should be clearly connected throughout the whole ad. This is the theme of your ad. This is the story you're telling. So make it really, really clear. Show real and relevant gameplay that illustrates the motivation. Real gameplay creates stronger interest in a title. You don't have to stick to unedited gameplay footage, but do go for gameplay that players will actually find when they download the game. And lastly is the call to action. So this is, again, like we said, a great opportunity to close the loop and drive the action linked to what motivates these types of players who you're trying to lure. Other things to keep in mind, that this is a learning framework. You build different ads to learn who like them, visual style. So for example, if one ad is longer than the other, I don't want that. Each new asset must begin with clear visual representation and message connecting the gameplay and motivation. They also have to be visually different from each other. This way you can be sure that the audience is responding to the ad and it's in fact responding to the motivation and gameplay. Consistency and isolating creative variables are key to ensuring better learnings. And we understand that building ads with more sophisticated stories and messages can be new to some developers. Planning is key to making better ads. You started by understanding the game and exploring your motivations. And next you prioritized 4 motivations to build. A very good way to start your building process is through a storyboard. So lay out what you want in each section of the ad. Which gameplay best illustrates the motivation you want to convey? What is the message? Is it short and punchy enough? Where is the logo? And then what's next on the story? Your storyboard doesn't have to be pretty. You can do this with slides or sketches, but having a clear map of what the ad will be is a great direction for the creative and the production teams to build well and fast. So it should be clear by now, but here's a reminder of all we've just seen. We build 4 new assets, clearly connecting motivations and gameplay. We follow our creative considerations and build ads, isolating the creative variables and consistent in aspect ratio and duration. And then, because I said there is an awful lot to cover in such a short space of time, we have a copy of all of this with all of these learnings, but also how to set up and run the test and how to adapt your new creatives. We also have a long list of Facebook marketing partners who are trained in this, who could support you in getting started. So you visit this URL, fb.gg/bigcatchplaybook, and you'll be able to download everything that I've just shown you and loads more. So on that note, I say thank you very much. And as a creative shop, I look forward to seeing all these gorgeous creative ads pour onto our feed and learn more about your game and your motivations. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Linda. That was incredible. I know that we're not accepting questions for the particular talk, but obviously you can reach out to definitely download that. I'm going to download that. I've learned some stuff for our marketing, so that was great. But definitely reach out, and through the Meet system, I'm sure there's plenty of folk from Facebook here will be no doubt happy to help and ask specific questions. But yeah, no, that was great. It was also lovely, very nicely delivered. I'm a very I speak so rapidly, and it was quite nice. It was like a lilting.
I have my little candle lit beside me and the little Zen.
Yeah, no, you should do like kind of stories. You should do audiobooks. So there's a whole new career there. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Linda. It's been an absolute pleasure having you. I shall release you back to digital ether in Ireland. There, enjoy your day, and hopefully, yeah, please do get in touch with Linda and definitely download that. We'll paste the link to that again in the chat in just a second. But do download that, and we'll send it out to everybody through the emails. But thanks a lot, Linda. Have a great day, and thank you for thank you for that.
No worries. Thank you. Goodbye. See you later. Bye bye.